Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You see the difference? It's your boy Fly Guy Kai, aka the captain, the main character, the one and only. I told you I'm trying to change it up a little bit, okay? I'm I'm looking into stuff. I'm figuring out that people use OBS Studio. So OBS Studio is looking like the new home for me to record stuff. And I can have like the I'm sitting there thinking like my hand comes out of the thing, but you see like the background that I have for my video. Listen, the small things, I like it, okay? And when it helps, I like it. All right. Um, my next thing is gonna do like better thumbnails and stuff. Yeah, I'm progressing. Okay, you're seeing a man grow into this. I got the time. I'm gonna put in the work. I promise you. What did I want to start off with? Because I haven't made a video in a week. I was trying to like crank these out. This is episode 8. This is episode 8. And the first thing I want to say is there's nothing that brightens my day or that makes my day that much better. I could probably be feeling down. I'd probably be in one of my days where I'm just like, I'm just super depressed. I don't want anybody to talk to me. I just want to, go somewhere, come back. Or I could just be minding my business out of nowhere. And I don't want to say old, but an older black woman. Like whenever you receive those compliments from the older black women, it makes my day 10 times better. Okay. It makes my day 10 times better. I start cheesing like Goofy, like when he was doing that thing with his ear and shit. Oh, we talk about me. Oh, thank you. Yo, any type of compliment. I'm like, oh, thank you, ma'am. You ain't really have to say that. I start cheesing acting. Thank you, ma'am. Oh man, but hope everybody's good. Mental health update. As you can see, I'm in high spirits. Now, am I faking the high spirits? No, not really. I'm actually doing pretty good today. The bonnet's back. Only because sometimes I like wearing the bonnet, man. I've gotten so much used to it. Like my hair is still, short cut and everything. I don't know if I did one with that. Like, yeah, I had to lop it off. There was a point in my life where my hair would constantly get cut because of my grades. Like I would pass and my mom would still just, as a punishment for some reason, just cut my hair. And it was like, well, damn, I want to grow my hair. Like, what does this have to do with my hair? I think it was like one of those things where parents try to do somewhere like, maybe if I cut their hair, then they'll do better at school. No, I sucked at school, especially grade school, high school. I just sucked at the stuff. Like I was there in the classes. I paid attention. I did the homework. I did the stuff. It's just I wasn't that good. College, I got way better. High school and stuff, I was like at a 2 point. I think it was like at 2.5, like a 2.5 or 2.7. I was just like a overall C student. So school was pretty average. But yeah, it didn't help. And that shit kind of messed me up for a minute. And it got to the point where there was one time where my report card was actually good. And this was like senior year, but I had felt so weird being able to grow it past that point that I just said like, fuck it, and I cut it. I didn't have to. There was no reason to. I just cut it. I was just like, damn, I'm not used to this. I gotta cut it. But even now, like me always growing my hair, I keep growing it. I really don't want to do anything with it. I just like have the afro. It's good to have it like once in a while. And then like me, I have like social anxiety at a lot of times. So it's like me having to go and like you find a place that does your hair or something like that, And then you gotta, you gotta go in there. You gotta talk to people. You gotta chill in there for a minute. People might ask you questions or something, and I really just want to go in there, just get my hair braided and go out. But it's like doing all that. It would seem like a simple task, but for me, it's dog. It's like moving a brick wall with your finger. Like it's tough. But I besides that, me just growing my hair, like hair having hair is cool. Like even how I have it, like having a little bit of hair at the top is like it's enough. I manage it. Yo, I go to sleep and I wake up, I still do the whole moisturize thing, but I don't have to do as much and I still look good. So there's that. Um I went to Charlotte. Shout out to my family. Dated Keisha and Naisa. Went up there to, you know, he was celebrating his father passed, and he had a 50th birthday come up. So that's kind of one of those things that I notice. Maybe it I guess it does happen to other races, I say, but for me, mostly for some reason, it sticks out. Like black men that die at 50 is such a shame because that male presence in the family. Like my family, we have a lot of female presence, which isn't bad. You know what I mean? But it's something different to have male presence in the family. Like we've got Uncle Lonnie, but that's about it. Well, Uncle Lonnie, Uncle Timmy. But otherwise than that, like when it comes to like the ratio of like men and women in the family, like it's always a lot of women. And especially at that older age of like 50 or 60, not to mention, he's a father, so of course you'd want to stick around for as long as possible for your kids. But he wasn't able to celebrate his birthday, and the family got together just to celebrate his father's 50th. And I come down there, well, not down there, but I'm in South Carolina, so I went up there to Charlotte. I wanted to see my family, and two, to just show support for like my cousin and his family. But it was cool. It was cool. It's always cool to see family. And then it's always cool to come back into my place, okay? Because I'd be like, cool, man, I love family. Hey, I love seeing y'all for a couple of days. And then be like, all right, I'm ready to get back home to mush. All right. But we had a nice Airbnb. The Airbnb was cool until a bed bug situation got out. All right. You know what I mean? A bed bug situation in one of the beds happened, and that like ruined the trip, because where we were at was cool. You know what I mean? It was a nice little apartment thing they had set up. It was one of those apartments that have like, it was a room on the first floor, and you go up the stairs, and that middle part has like the half bathroom with like the living room and the kitchen with the island on it. You go up the other stairs, and there's two rooms up there, and then you can go up to the roof, and there's like a patio type thing with furniture and the umbrella. You can really sit up there. There's a lot of bugs though, so it wasn't too comfortable, but it was still like nice. And it was gonna be cool. It was gonna be good enough. Had one section where it was me, and my other cousin, and then we had another section where my cousin and his fiance, and then like his two sisters. They had their own room. All the rooms had bathrooms too. All the rooms had bathrooms. You know what I mean? The living rooms with the kitchen had the half bathroom. So it was a really good place. It's just that incident. Because from that incident, try to get in contact with the people, and the people after a while didn't want to respond. So you got to go back. You got to go to Airbnb, and Airbnb outsources their stuff with customer. Like a lot of things, customer service. Like you listen for it, and you kind of hear like a certain dialect and language or something, and then you can kind of tell, like, all right, let me talk to another person. All right, let's talk to another person. and they all have like the same type of. It's like, okay, so they outsource this, and not only that, but when they outsource these things for customer service, they don't give them too much information, because it's just like once it gets too crazy, then just forward it up to an actual top member in Airbnb, and they take it from there at some point. But because it's Memorial Day weekend and stuff, probably not too many people to get in contact with, and the people on the phone, they did the best they could, but they really couldn't do much because customer service. That's all. And my cousin, he's trying to get his money back for that, because you shouldn't have to deal with that. And then they tried to send a cleaner out, and the cleaner's saying that they got bit by a bed bug too. And then you got a exterminator that comes out. People are doing all of this. When they come back to getting the money, they only trying to get back like 20%. I'm like, nah, boss. Because people have had to throw out some clothes. Not to mention they can't stay in that bed. And then even when you do all that extermination shit, like, who wants to sleep in that same bed again? Like, no, you gotta give us another spot, or you gotta like give the money back. It's not right. So that's an Airbnb experience I wish on nobody. And first time experiencing that. Horrible, nasty, especially the way they tried to clean it. And even cleaning people was just like, listen, they just told us to come out here, and we don't work with them. We ain't got nothing to do with them. They just come out here. They just call a cleaning company, tell us to go clean some stuff off, and then we get our money, and that's it. So, but that was the experience. Wouldn't have wanted. But no, man, my cousin ended up getting a hotel for a couple of rooms so everybody could have another place to sleep. So that was okay. That was cool. But shout out to my cousin. Shout out to my family. Now another thing, right? Because I used to use dating apps, right? Because dating apps, you kind of get the whole hope thing up. You think like, everything's gonna be like, it's different, but you think like, I'm on a dating app, other people on a dating app, I may be able to have more of a chance, because kind of now it's like you'd have to catching somebody, talking to them, trying to get something going is a little bit harder. And then where do you catch people at? Are you going to catch people at in the same area? Or do they do the same things? What if they're introverts? Then they don't go outside. You're never going to see them outside. Like, it's stuff like that. And what I found is just like, I was literally using three. I was using Facebook, because they got something on there, but I was just to try. Of course, Hinge, that everybody uses Hinge. And then, what was it? Tinder. Even though Tinder is just like nah. Because these dating companies, now they want you to pay like more money for some shit. Like, oh, you ran out of likes. You want more likes? You got to give us a subscription to like people? Fuck out of here. Oh, you got like 50 people that seen you. You want to see who's seen you? You got to pay money. And then a lot of the times, I'm not shallow. I'm not really shallow. I just like what I like, okay? I'm not saying you gotta be Beyonce. I'm not saying you gotta be like, I'm trying to figure out. I like going to Beyonce, so. But I'm not saying that you gotta be like a America's Next Top Model or nothing. But me, I am not fat. I go to the gym 4 to 5 days a week. Most of the time I make it 5. I don't eat anything crazy. In fact, I'm very controlled of what I eat. These are just like things like I like anime. I like it's anime, comics, documentaries. I consider myself a writer because I do write. So I'm a writer, creative writer. I write some type of, like, I work on fantasy stories and some type of like comic book stories and sci-fi stuff. I do TikTok stuff. I do YouTube stuff. So I'm kind of in that realm, in that range where I'm also retired. So I'm laid back, chill, and calm. Probably seems boring to most, I guess. Peace is boring to a lot of women out there. Um, but I kind of look for those things in return. Like it don't got to be like up to the T, but having like half of those things, majority of the things would be nice. And I potentially the one thing being like health. Like when it comes to health and when it comes to like the gym and stuff like that, people will say like, "Oh man, it doesn't matter what you look like," but attraction plays a part. And it's not like it's not the end all be all or is a major part. It definitely plays a part. Okay. Uh and I'm not attracted to fat women. You know what I mean? Mine's is the you can be skinny, you can be slim thick, a little bit thick. But once it starts getting over a certain range, then I can't do it. I can't do it. I like what I like. But on these apps, especially like I'm down here, so it's not really showing me what I want to see. Cause I'm a man who I date. I don't. The race doesn't matter to me. But what I do put on the top of my list that I'm looking out for is black women. So that's what I'm looking out for. Uh, Under that, I'm not gonna get to that. Just know under that, you know what I mean. Eh, damn, do I gotta make a top 10? No, I'll say top three. Top three is gonna be black women, and that's African American, African, Caribbean, like under that umbrella. And for second and third place, it's a tie between Spanish and Asian. Specifically, when I say Asian, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Filipino, and of course, Latin, Hispanic, that diaspora also. So it's a tie between those two for a second, but at the top, it's black women. And I do get likes. Okay, I get some here and there. Something's cool. I go to phone conversations. The phone conversations don't pan out too well, or something seems off. So I just gotta like stop it there. The distance really doesn't, for me, distance really doesn't matter too much. Because if I like you and you're putting in the effort and I'm putting in the effort, then I'll, what I mean, try to come out there to see you. And me being in South Carolina, I've got access to, parts of North Carolina, parts of Georgia, possibly parts of Florida, depending on what part of Florida. But I do get a lot of, there's like some women that is just not to my, it's not to my liking, if I want to say. And because I'm feeling like that's kind of like a sign. So it's kind of like a sign that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to find mine out there in the wilderness somewhere. Not wilderness per se, but I'm talking about just in life, like Target or I don't know, Barnes and Noble or something. Go catch a couple of brunch, experiment. I just got to go out there and find it. I think that's the solution. Gotta try what I gotta try. Hey, listen. Dating isn't that easy. It should be easy. It should be simple. And what makes it even more difficult is I want to say these expectations or these stipulations, whichever thing you want to fit in there, right? And it's kind of putting such a limit on the way people think about relationships, on the way they think about dating, that it starts to hinder a lot of things. And you can have simple dates. Like, you don't have to go to the most expensive restaurant the first time. Like, you can go to the local diner. Like, you don't have to go to the most expensive restaurant and talk. Like, you can go to a local diner and talk. You can grab food and go to a park, sit in a car and talk. I've done stuff like that. I understand, like, not going to the movies as a date, but dinner in the movies, or like lunch in the movie, or like go to the movie, go to lunch, movie, go to dinner, something like that. You know what I mean? Even just walking in the park real quick just to talk. Because I thought that was the initial point for the first one, to be like, yo, you trying to get somewhere where you can really talk. Because you do a little bit of it, and talking stages do get too long. Because you're doing a lot of it back and forth. You're already saying a lot up front. So when you finally do meet, you talk, but you don't have to do too much talking. That's just that's the confirmation of like, oh, you're real. And then try to do an event to have some fun, to check. It's like a vibe check almost. Like, okay, how are they when we go when we go out to eat? Or when we go bowling? Or when we just go explore the city? Something like that. People talk about numbers. They talk about like, yo, your date limit gotta be this, and you gotta have this up front. Some of the stuff I get, and then some of the stuff is just like, dog, whatever. People are opting out. They're just like, dog, just miss me. Like, I'm just gonna stick to myself for a while. Have I gotten to that point? No. I'm an introvert anyway, so I've been sticking to myself regardless. But no, I'm still one of those, one of those storybook romantics that just want to, you can't really give up on love or the possibility of finding love. It's gonna be there. It's challenging, but you stick with it, you be alright. You gotta stick with it. I was thinking of a Disney song, but I don't I don't know. I want to get on my topic of Dink. I wanted to do something, right? I want to look up eras of anime. I want to see if I can look that 80s anime. I want to see if I can set something up. And this is like an experiment to see exactly what I can do as far as screen sharing. So, I got to chime into good old YouTube. I want to see something, right? I want to see some 80s. I was just thinking about it, some 80s anime type stuff. I may have to talk over some of the stuff so I don't get copyright. All right, this person has top 30 greatest 80s anime that were way ahead of their time. They explored, but nah. Openings. This guy's good. Mother's Basement is good too. You gotta check that out. Oh, I might. There's one I'm gonna do openings, like some of my favorite animes, like looking at their openings, because it's always fire. Let's go with. Let's see what his list is talking about.
Of VHS tapes, iconic animation studios such as.
Let me start over.
This might sound baffling, but anime has existed for over a century now. However, the true global appreciation of this incredible art form took off during the 1980s. With the rapid growth of the Japanese economy and the popularity of VHS tapes, iconic animation studios such as Studio Ghibli and Kyoto Animation started to draw the attention of the world. The 80s are hailed as the golden era for anime in many ways, and in this video, we decided to bring you a bucket load of nostalgia as we
I just want to, when you look at eras, just look at anime, just look at random anime from different eras. Look at the drawing styles. Look at how characters move. some of the characters you see like the 70s going into 80s, they had like this type of motion with their mouths, and some of the motions of the characters was kind of, would I say stiff? Sometimes stiff. Sometimes they would reuse a lot of it to kind of, you know, like, oh, we don't have to use this one again because they're going to do the same action. So it kind of saves on time, possibly money. But if you look at it, just some random stuff from the 80s, 70s, 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, 2010s, and then now, like, you see such a gradual difference, especially you can tell the style of clothes also, because that's what fit around that time. Let me get back to this.
Explore some of the finest 80s anime shows and movies. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small clip for you, but for
shout out
us,
to them.
It means a lot.
Subscribe to their channel.
Begin. Dragon Ball, 1986. Dragon Ball is an anime that truly defines the 1980s, and this incredible show features the legendary fighter Son Goku and his adventures. The story is premised on a twisted version of Earth, and this ridiculously strong and spirited fighter seeks to find the 7 Dragon Balls. Once the quest is completed, the Grand Dragon can be summoned, which can then grant the bearer one single wish. However, Goku's journey is full of challenges as he meets numerous villains along the way and must fight them for survival. Luckily for Goku, he also has the support of an assortment of companions.
And I'm just going to go through some of these briefly because I want to see exactly like what animes he goes through. Just the beginnings, just to look at them. But Dragon Ball, a lot of people watch Dragon Ball Z. Younger people probably caught on a Dragon Ball Super, just like, oh, this is tough. I heard of Dragon Ball Z, but a lot of people haven't seen Dragon Ball. That's because Dragon Ball Z was super popular. And you wouldn't think that Dragon Ball existed. And to tell you the truth, if I'm not mistaken, Dragon Ball Z came out, and then they didn't show us Dragon Ball until after. So it was like, oh, they would show it one time. It was like, oh, what's this? Like, oh, this is Goku when he was a kid. So you get to see, of course, they're showing a young Bulma. You get to see Goku, how he knows Bulma, how he knows Puar and Yamcha and Krillin, how they found Master Roshi, trained under him, how he learned his Kamehameha the first time, running into King Piccolo and then Piccolo, the martial arts tournament. You talk about tournaments, martial arts tournament. If I'm not mistaken, Dragon Ball Z made tournaments popular. Tournament arcs popular. And that's why people love them till this day. They love the tournament arcs. Let's check this one.
Fist of the North Star, 1984. The events of the Fist of the North Star take place in a post-apocalyptic world where everything has been destroyed following a nuclear holocaust. The remaining survivors have to struggle for limited resources, and there exists a rule of the strong across the land. Kenshiro is one such survivor, who has mastered the deadly martial art form called Hokuto Shinken, which roughly translates to Fist of the North Star. He wanders across the wasteland and he delivers a unique brand of vigilante justice, accompanied by a young thief and an orphan girl. The oppressors must beware this lethal fighter who can make use of 708 hidden pressure points in the body to destroy opponents from within. Can the animalistic world order be sorted by this courageous fighter? This anime has inspired and impressed several renowned personalities, including popular wrestler turned actor John Cena, who claims that the movie version of Fist of the North Star is one of his favorites.
Now, that's like I didn't know that. It's actually it's kind of fly.
Anime series was a pioneer in many ways, bringing in the violent animated action that presented an exaggerated and brutal version of a post-apocalyptic world. The violent doses of action are neutralized by some emotional moments and good humor, and the narrative manages to keep you interested the whole time. The animation does a brilliant job of capturing the subtle designs of the original manga written by Burnson and illustrated by Tetsuo Hara.
I just wanted to see that part. Fist of the North. I've always heard of Fist of the North Star too. Fist of the North Star was, Fist of the North Star was what it was. You feel me? I never watched it. I never sat down and watched it, but I always know it was some guy that whenever he would, it looks like his design was kind of inspired by Bruce Lee at some point. But I just knew when he laid hands on you and he got a certain attack off, your body would like explode or something, which I guess that's his style, Fist of the North Star. But when I talk about animation and like fashion and how people drew certain things based on that, this is an example too. Like just just the style of animation and how they had it drawn. I know it's a post-apocalyptic place, but it still ties to the look and feel of how people want to draw anime, and how movies were. Because I'm pretty sure this person got inspired by Mad Max, or maybe Mad Max got inspired by Fist of the North Star. Could be. What's the next one? Really, I might just start fast forwarding through some of this. I'm gonna talk about
Kiki's Delivery Service,
because I don't know.
1989. This fantasy anime, written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki and animated by Studio Ghibli.
I don't know if it gets flagged or not. I'm still trying to test the waters with that.
It tells the story of a young 13-year-old witch named Kiki who wants to seek out an independent life. It's an essential part of her life in order to complete the witch study, and she must settle in a city for an entire year and survive on her own. Kiki is a headstrong and resourceful young girl, and she decides to head to the seaside town of Koriko. She establishes her own delivery service where she uses her magic broom as the delivery vehicle. However, Kiki and her talking cat Gigi have some challenges ahead of them once she loses her ability to fly. Can she still manage to survive the rest of her time in the new community?
And one thing about Miyazaki is that all his films, they have their drawing style and how they portray certain things, but the fantasy that he has created within it has just been dope, even till this day. Because what was it, the Boy and the Heron? I still have to watch that. I haven't checked that out yet, but I still got to watch that. Won an award. People had a lot of gripe because it won an award over Spider-Man. What was that? Beyond the Spider-Verse. But people were like, yeah, you got to watch it and you'll see it. Some people I talked to faked it and said they saw it just to fit in with the other people's opinions. But I got to check it out. And I will soon. But Miyazaki, I think he missed on like maybe one or two movies. But otherwise than that, Miyazaki was Miyazaki. What's this next one?
Legend of the Galactic Heroes, 1988. This space anime tells the story of a distant future in our galaxy, and it is a universe that is filled with terraformed worlds that are inhabited by interstellar human beings. There are two mighty space powers who are at war with each other on the basis of their beliefs and ideals. The Imperial side is led by a military genius.
Look at how they're
named
drawn.
Reinhard
They
von
look like
Lohengraf,
vampires.
And Wen Li is one of the notable leaders of the other side called the Free Planets Coalition.
It's almost like they
Both
tried to
have
do
their reasons
realism a
to
little
continue
bit,
the
too.
long-drawn conflict, and it often comes down to the conflict of their personal vendettas. What will be the final outcome of this continual space war? The intriguing storyline features a struggle between two empires that will surely remind fans of Star Wars, and the narrative has a deeply philosophical standpoint apart from all the action and drama that unfolds. The main advantages of this anime are believable strategies and relatable storytelling.
It was the weird clothes too, but that's why, some of the anime, it was just like either you had the big poofy hair, you had the big eyes, and it was like, you had the bug eyes and stuff, and it looked different like that, or they tried to give it somewhat of a realistic type of look, and they stuck with that. This one, I probably would have skipped to. I can't. Now, this right here.
Akira, 1988. This cyberpunk anime film, directed by Katsuhiro Otomoto, is one of the most aesthetically appealing anime out there. The
And this
plot
one is
deviates
always
considerably
fire.
from the manga, and the movie talks about a secret military project that endangers Tokyo. The setting is that of 31 years after World War III, and a rebuilt Tokyo is now called Neo-Tokyo. Shotaro Kaneda is the leader of a bike gang in this unruly new world, and his friend Tetsuo is made the subject of the military experiment after an accident. Tetsuo develops supreme telekinetic powers, and he decides to use these powers for evil. As Kaneda tries his best to rescue Tetsuo, secrets are unveiled about Akira, the force that has destroyed Tokyo in the past. Will the sequence of events result in another doomsday for Earth? Akira is one of the finest specimens of Japanese animation, and
And it still has influence to this day. Akira still has influence to this day. Like they from it being how it has like Neo Tokyo, the bike designs, how Neo Tokyo looks, it a lot of sci-fi anime have taken like some type of inspiration. Even some movies, they've taken inspiration from Akira just because of how it was designed, and it was an impact. And even now, like I said, it came out in 1988. That's what, a long time, because I don't feel like doing math. No. I don't want to do the math because I don't want to believe it. But let me see. You got to, that's 34 years ago? Which is insane. This came out, no, 36, it came out 36 years ago. People still highly recommend it. People still swear by it. And it still has effect to this day. Just like Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z came out just around that time and still has an effect to this day. Still has echoes throughout anime. And that's why when it comes to designing a story or trying to get into anime writing or manga writing or just writing in general, it's like I would love to be able to make something that lasts for, even if it's just, I'd rather have one thing be so inspirational that it not only lasts a long time, but it influences everyone else, than have a multitude of things and it's just, they were good at that time and then people kind of are just waiting for the next thing. Because Akira, when it came to Dragon Ball Z, like this person, I think I seen a couple of other things that they made, and those are cool too. And the same thing with, but they didn't catch on like Akira. Just like with Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z, what do you have? Dr. Slump, which had that anime back then, but it was like, okay, it was cool for back then, but not now. And he just had one come out called Sandland, which it looks cool, but it'll be cool for now. And then, I hate to say it, but people are going to forget about it. Dragon Ball Z, you're never going to forget about it. You're never going to forget about it. So it's one of those things where like, I'd rather have one that people will talk about forever and ever, and even like still show it. You can still do spin-offs off of it and it's still good. And you have some side projects you want to do and they're kind of mediocre, than to have like a whole bunch of projects that are like just good for the time and people just keep on rolling. It's just one of those things. It's like you want this or you want that.
Its cinematic influence can be considered to be Royal Space Force, The Wings of the Hanamese, 1987. The plot is premised in a fictional world where space travel has not yet been mastered. All the attempts made to launch space missions have resulted in the deaths of those involved. But Shiloh, a cadet in the Royal Space Force, is a gutsy young fellow who wants to bring about the change despite the risks associated. The space travel program has been stuck in development for 10 years and faces numerous issues, such as lack of funds. However, it will soon be revealed that there are greater problems associated with previous failures, and Shiloh will learn more about the controversial space program and the conspiracy.
Now, the way that the characters are drawn,
both Royal Space Force and
is kind of
Akira
unique.
were equally
But you look at
impactful
I just want to point out, you look at the, can I go back to
democratizing the West with anime culture, but Akira stole much of the limelight by appealing to an adolescent audience. While Royal Space Force is the controversial space program and the conspiracy,
like you look at how the suit is
surrounding
drawn.
it.
Like
Both
look at the details in how the light is shining just like it normally would. Even stuff in the back, how the shine, you know, comes off of this object, how the shading is, how much time they took just to draw everything in this. Nothing looks cheap. It looks like they took all their time to draw something like that.
And
Even the animation part, like him doing that simple gesture, the lines and the I used to draw a lot, and then like I've said before, like the creative spark kind of went away, but I can still appreciate good art, especially the 80s. I think that's what it is. It was just, it might be a little easier now because of the process and the tools and the technology, but it's just something where you could appreciate it a lot more in the 80s because they had that technology to create this stuff, and they created some stuff you can't even replicate.
Impactful projects in terms of familiarizing the West with anime culture. Gem. My Neighbor Totoro, 1988. Satsuki and Mei are two young girls who move into their country house in order to care for their ailing mother. While a new life can be challenging for young girls, the sisters soon discover some fun company in the neighboring forests.
If you've ever seen this is where this comes from. Totoro.
These forests are inhabited by an adorable
Totoro.
blue forest spirit named Totoro, and Satsuki and Mei become a part of some magical adventures. They fall in love with their new life, even though their house is old and falling apart, and the girls cannot wait to explore every bit of this magical land. Hayao Miyazaki is a special name in the world of animation, and he proves yet again why his art... The Mysterious Cities of Gold, 1982.
Cities of Gold. Like, look at it, 1982. It looks like some type of Scooby-Doo-esque type of stuff. I'm just going to go through some of these quickly because I just want to see some of them.
Castle in the Sky, 1986.
Castle in the Sky is another one. Okay, because Miyazaki is different only because he doesn't do anime, he does movies. So it's more so... If I had to go with that lane too, then yeah, I would. If I had to go the movie route, then I would want to be like Miyazaki. If I had to go just the anime route, then I would want to be like Akira Toriyama. Because Miyazaki, he'll make these, and these last two, My Neighbor Totoro, people still watch till this day. Or you've always seen like that big cat creature, you'll always see it like that. Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle is still dope, still fantastic. He hits movies out of the park.
Is a match made in heaven, and Castle in the classic.
Vampire Hunter D,
1985. We can't possibly explore the finest 80s anime without talking about some of the memorable horror anime that came our way. Vampire Hunter D is premised in a distant future where supernatural creatures such as vampires control civilization. Doris Lang is a beautiful young woman, and she is picked to be the next bride for the notorious vampire lord, Count Magnus Lee.
A lot of these have that look. Have that like,
that her life will
not trying to be realistic,
Count,
but trying to be
the help of a mysterious vampire hunter, City Hunter, 1987.
Trying to be something.
The life of a seasoned hitman is incomplete without being associated with a few alluring ladies, and the titular protagonist of this anime, City Hunter, aka Ryo Seba, fits the bill.
And when I talked about like fashion,
he's a private eye.
As far as the 80s, he's got that like Miami Vice type of look. I mean, that's what the 80s was. It was that type of look. So of course, the animes, not so much the cartoons. Cartoons kind of just stuck to a basic thing, but the animes definitely. The fashion that was out, and you could see it through the anime. Stuff like this. What else we got? A lot of these I've heard of, but I've never taken the time to really watch it.
Is Murder. Grave of the Fireflies, 1988.
Another Miyazaki hit. Grave of the Fireflies.
Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, 1985.
Mobile Suit Gundam is the mech of mech animes. What I have in my top 10 as I've stated before, Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans because of how hard it hit. But Gundams, most of all, the mech genre, this is where like people would automatically go to. People go to because they not only have Gunpla, which is like the models. I had one before, but it kind of broke, so I got to give me another one. But Gunpla, they still come out with iterations of Mobile Suit Gundam because it's literally just that. Like when they did these in the 80s, the future was like they went beyond in the future to the point where there was colonies outside of Earth. And of course, what's going to follow out there in space? War. So people still had war, but it was fought not with just ships. Once they developed Gundams, that's how wars were fought next. Like they had their ships too, but mass productions of Gundams in every story comes out. And that's how people was fighting these. And it was just like, yo, mech suits that people pilot, and it looks like, yo, it's too complicated, but that's not the point. You don't focus on like how many buttons they gotta press and how do they get the robot to do a backflip and a sword slash at the same time. It's just the wonder and the fascination that Gundam has created since then. But what something called Dirty Pair. Let's see, I just want the
Attacker U, 1984.
Oh, Attacker U. He had the description of Attack on Titan. Attacker
Things
U.
change after the arrival of an alien spaceship that crash lands
Magical
on Earth.
Princess
All the nations view this as an extraterrestrial.
Nah, that'll be good enough because I just want to see something. Yeah, I just want to use those as an example. Just talk about like 80s anime. Next one, I'll look up a couple things 90s anime just to show like how it has transitioned from then till now. It's always cool to look back and just see how far they took anime. I'm an anime geek, anime nerd, so it always gets me. Where do I want to switch to? Because I like to do my bulk of anime stuff, and then I like to wind down. I'm supposed to, you know what? I'm slipping up because I was trying to give you the next anime I've watched. Because I give you like 10 every time. So it's anime list, all right. Some that I've watched, some of them I finished, some I've only watched. Big O, I finished. Big O's fire. Digimon, they have a lot of iterations. I've watched most of them. I put Digimon over Pokemon. Pokemon got more of the exposure, but I prefer Digimon over Pokemon. The GOAT one, I mean, the original one's cool, but the one, if you ask everybody, the one that had the best story and the best overall like feel and look was the third one, Tamers. My favorite is Frontier. That's the one where they kind of had like a Power Rangers type of thing where they could transform into like it was like they had Digimon themed armor and they looked really different. But that one is my favorite. Hunter x Hunter. I haven't watched the one from the 90s or the 80s, whichever one that one came out. I watched the one that came out in the early 2000s. I finished that one. Of course, Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is good. One Piece is still going on. Of course, I watched it. God damn, I'm impressed by something got caught in it. But I'm impressed by how long the story is still going on. Like, Oda has committed to it and is keeping up with it. And it's still got its moments and it's still good. What else? Zoids. I watched Zoids Chaotic Century, Zoids New Century, and I'm trying to think. And then there was one with the one where they had, it was like a sport. The Zoids were used in a type of competition matter. Zoids were dope to me. A lot of people probably haven't seen it. It did come on Toonami, so probably people don't like put it up there as much, but it's definitely fire. Inuyasha. Everybody knows Inuyasha. Everybody knows Inuyasha. If you're like me, like I want to say, like the 30 and under type, the 30 and over type crowd, but mostly like between like 30 and 40. We know about Inuyasha because that's how you know that Toonami was getting ready to end, because they played Inuyasha last, and you hear that ending song, because you wake up for some reason, I don't know why, but you wake up and you know like it's about to be 3 o'clock. What was it, like 3 o'clock they stopped it, like 3 or 4 o'clock, and that was it. That was pretty much your Saturday. So if you didn't stay up and you fell asleep, you woke up, you know you missed it, because that was that. Metabots. It was almost like, it wasn't like Mega Man, because Mega Man, they had their like, I was about to say Mega Man, no. What would it be like? Yo, something really got in my eye. This shit's killing me. I don't need to edit it out. It's killing me. It wasn't like Digimon. It was battle bots. People had bots, and they could like buy parts from them. They stayed with a theme, most of them, and they would do battles. And you had Metabee, who was the main person, and he had his own type of like this personality that leaped out of the Metabot, and he was a fire Metabot too. Let's see. Baki the Grappler. Baki the Grappler is Baki the Grappler. They showed the whole thing on Netflix, and they're getting ready to have Baki versus Kenshin Ashura. That should be fire, because those two throw down the most. I'm not gonna hold you. If they didn't do the fan service thing where they would have, I guarantee it was gonna be people fight, and both sides will take a loss, some losses and some wins. It'll come down to Baki versus Kenshin, and they'll have some type of draw. Realistically, Baki should beat the brakes off of Kenshin. Like, it's gonna be a cool fight, but Baki's just better. Cyborg 009. If you haven't checked it, check it out. Cyborg 009 is the truth. And let's go with Beyblade. And Beyblade still, you know what's funny? Beyblade still has different iterations that come out. And Beyblade has competitions that sometimes they're underground competitions, sometimes they have them in comic book stores. And it's the funniest thing, because when it first came out, it was just a thing you watch, and they would summon. So Beyblade spinning tops, but these were spinning tops made out of metal. And when they made them out of metal, they also had these little they had the disc that you put in the center that had like a picture of like a mythical animal or beast or something like that. And on the anime, they would summon the beast, and the beast would do battle. And you would also see like the Beyblades kind of doing battle too, sort of in the same format. It was almost like how Demon Slayer has their how the creator of Demon Slayer said, the reason why we put the elements into it, as they like when Tanjiro swings his sword and you see water, like when you see people use like, the lightning flash, and the Hashiras use theirs, and it's so pretty. He was like, because realistically, that's not what's being shown. Like, regular people, they can't just see water coming out or something. That's just the name of the styles. Because if they didn't show it, then it would just be sword fighting. And to tell you the truth, the animation, the story is cool. The story is cool for Demon Slayer. Don't get it messed up. But the animation does carry a chunk of it, because of how gorgeous it looks, because of how how it looked when Tanjiro switched from water style to sun style, and like his whole thing lit a flame, and you seen like a dragon come out, and it killed old buddy that was like an evil type of Spider-Man. But Beyblade had took that and like made more series even after Tyson and the original crew, and it's still going on today. And like I said, they got competitions now where it's just spinning tops, and some of the spinning tops in there have a design where it spins for a while and then it'll kick up the spin after it, and sometimes people's Beyblades be flying out. I look it up on TikTok and the shit looks fire. Am I gonna do it? No. Do I potentially want to buy one just to spin it around the house every now and again? Yeah, because I'm a big ass kid. I had one when I was younger. I think I had Tyson's. And like all kids who don't know any better, when they just say like, "Oh, I'm tired of this," and they just throw out the toy. They throw out the toy. And me, I threw out my toy. So that is that. But yeah, those are the 10. I'll give you 10 more that I watched, and kind of gives you an idea of like, oh, I haven't heard of that. Let me see if I want to go check it out. Two things I wanted to touch on to end it, or to end this, podcast. Moving. Start with moving, right? Go ahead and move. But if you want to move, make sure you have things lined up. You see people, it's another thing about Instagram. It's another thing about these social media things. People will show you the good. Of course. They'll show you, oh, I used to live here, and then I looked up, what's the popular one people go to? Atlanta. Oh, I used to live in Minnesota, and I didn't like it there, and I needed a new change of scenery, so I moved to Atlanta. I moved into this nice apartment, and yada, yada, yada. But there's key things. Like, if you want to move to places, see if you know anybody out there, or if you can talk to someone you trust that may live out there or nearby. If you're working somewhere that possibly has a job transfer, see if you can transfer over there. But before you even do that, use some vacation days that you have and just go there. Like, it don't have to be nothing super extravagant, okay? If you're thinking about moving to a place, then you should at least go down there for yourself. Because even if you do have people that's there, their taste may not be your same taste. So you should take a trip, a couple days, get a hotel or Airbnb, and then if you can rent a car and just drive around the city. Of course, now TikTok is helpful because it'll tell you like, hey, you don't want to be in this neighborhood, be another one. Or if you're a social person, maybe you go to like a couple stores, or you go to like a restaurant here and there and just like ask like maybe, some people that are there like, hey, I'm thinking about moving here. What's a good neighborhood? What's not a good neighborhood? Stuff like that. But make sure you take a couple vacation days. Check it out for yourself. If you get information you think it's good, save up money. Like, don't do it in that. If you got the money, then go ahead. But save up money, because moving costs money. You got movers. Unless, of course, you're going to do it yourself, then that's fine. But still, you got to rent the U-Haul or whatever you're going to use. If you're getting movers for trunking company, you got to look up stuff like that. Getting to a new state, some states you have to pay property tax on your car. That's something I learned because I was living up in New Jersey, and even going down to North Carolina for a while and then coming to South Carolina. I didn't know you had to pay property tax on your car. I thought it was like once you bought your car was yours. Joke's on me. So that cost me like a couple $100 to do that, switch the license over. So if you got a car, like, you're going to be paying some stuff. If you got kids, you got to research school systems. So it's a whole lot if you want to move. Is it impossible? I'm never going to say it's impossible to move. It's possible for you to move. But it's just, there are things that will make it a tedious process. Like, it's a hard process. And the more family you have, the harder it is. Because it's not just you. it's your significant other, and then it's your children or your child, school systems, activities, the right neighborhood, what's there to do, your job, are you going to get the same pay? It's a lot of things that you got to research too. So don't just up and leave because you've seen people do it on TikTok. Don't just up and leave because you heard somebody do it. It's not as easy. Some people say, oh, it's super easy. Just go do it. I did it. No, it's not easy. That's not how it works. Just do your research. Take the steps. Don't try to rush and go somewhere, because if you do that and you try to rush somewhere and then you're stuck, then it's going to be a harder process because you have to do everything. You got to save money. You got to live where you live at for a while. You just got to make do. And you got to do the whole process until you either move back to where you came from or you try looking somewhere else. But just do the research. You can move. It's not impossible. It's possible, just at a harder level. And of course, I ended off with War and Peace. And the reason why I say War and Peace, I like to keep my stuff at an hour, but I'll go like 10 minutes. All this stuff that's going on, right? I want to say emotionally, it's a lot. I don't want to say the term exhausting because I'm not over there, but it's exhausting in the fact that we can't do anything. Like, they tell us, like, hey, you got this choice and you can do this and do that, but realistically, in the grand scheme of things, we can't do anything. We can't go over to certain places. We can't expect all countries or even our own to do something, even if we deem ourselves that something doesn't look right, something doesn't feel right. Like, we can't do anything, and that is kind of taxing on the mental. There's people out there whose families are getting erased, and the other people will say, well, war has been war. No one said anything about it before. The difference is now that we have technology, and before you could only have a camera crew that could capture the images, and the media could spin it the way they wanted to. Oh, this war is like this because this person's bad. Oh, we're actually doing good. We're not losing. Before cameras, you had to go by word of paper or word of mouth, word of radio. But now everybody has a camera. Just like I got a camera, you got a camera. If something were to happen outside, you could get the video out to the people before the news could ever get the video out. Sometimes they use the video that they find online and put it in the news channel. So it's the fact that we can now see it for ourselves. Like, of course, there's been wars. Of course, you've seen some things about it. You're just like, damn, that looks crazy. But we're seeing it now from both sides. We're seeing it from it's like we're seeing it from the shooter's perspective and the person who's getting shot at's perspective. And when you kind of get both sides, or you get both views, then you can see, like, wait, hold on, something's messed up. Why is this amount of bombing happening? Who's the true enemy? Stuff like that, or stuff that's going on in the country, and it's big enough to do something, but it chooses not to. Maybe it decides to look the other way, or maybe it's also benefiting from whatever's happening in that section of the country, continent. And it's one of those things where I feel like there's never going to be true peace. There's always going to be something about war that draws humanity to be in war. People that'll have disagreements, and they want to take their disagreements to the next level, or they want to impose their view on something, then they will wage war. They'll wage war over something. And it's, I don't know. It's hard. It's like you want peace, but you know it'll never happen. You want the wars to stop, but hey, like, you know that'll never happen. And it's not like you purposefully did anything, but the fact that you also can't, like, you can't stop it. Even when things look sensibly bad, you can't do anything about it. Then it kind of gets to you. And I see people that, you know, make the videos and they make it from like, yo, this is what's going on. This is the update. If you're trying to send money. But then it's like, yo, you send money to a couple of these places only for the places to damn near be attacked or part of it be destroyed, or whoever you try to send money to, they just, whoever, I don't know, whoever's trying to receive help, the next time you hear about them, next time you see them, they could be gone. And it's sick. I don't know. I always think about it. That'll be it. Because now, like, that's something that's been on my mind, and, you know, you can't do anything about it. You don't have the power to really do anything about it. Even if you did, could you even do anything? And I don't know if we'll ever get a chance to stop this from happening. Because, listen, war is not only taxing on, it's not just dollars, it's the bodies, it's the spirits, it's the emotions. Like, I was in the military, and anything could have went down, and they send me out there and might have not come back home. And now I've got like brothers and sisters and, you know, the whole family that's missing a family member because of something I didn't start, but you got to go out there to help, you know, defend the country. And now that I'm out, you know, my little sister's going into it. And it's the same thing. People are starting to, it's like, yo, like, they're starting to beat on their chest in other countries, and it's like, oh, we want to do this, we're going to keep doing our way or whatever. And how do they do it? Well, they'll be like, look, listen, we're going to send out these troops to see who will win. And of course, you get some losses when you go into war, when you go into battle, whatever you want to call it, and that could cost someone's life. And now it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I did it, you know, no problem, but they didn't send me out at this time. Like, now it's something where you have to worry about a family member for a potential, like, upcoming big war. And I gotta have the mental, you know, the mental thing going on where it's like, my little sister could potentially be out there just like everybody else is. And of course, when you sign up, it's a great thing. And I thank everybody that's done it. But it's the fact that we have to, like, there's just certain things that we can't agree on, and we have to put the bodies out there, put the brave bodies, but we got to put the bodies out there. And some of those bodies don't come back. Like, some of those people don't come back, and it is just a lot. And then now I'm pretty sure my family was worried about me when I was like over in Japan and Korea, but now I'm on the other side, and I have to worry about where they send my sister at. So it's real. But yeah, I still won't stop praying for peace, praying for safety for everybody, even people that I don't know, people that I don't see, people that I don't interact with, people I may never hear of or hear their voice, how they sound. I still, you know, I'm not a like a Christian person or super religious, but I am spiritual. So when I pray every day, I always pray for everyone regardless. I never wish death on people because that's not something you come back from. I do wish for like justice on a lot of people. And I always pray for like some type of peace, some type of security, some type of healing for the whole world to get through. And to tell you the truth, I don't know if we'll ever get that, but there's no sense in not at least trying, or not at least hoping that it'll happen. Okay. And that's it for your boy. Sorry, I gotta end it on a somber note. But hey, thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, share with the people, okay? You know what I mean? I'm doing this video thing. I do have goals set in mind as far as using this to elevate into something else. And hopefully you guys can help me. But thank you for your time, because I know time is valuable. And if anybody's got any type of criticism, because listen, I don't mind criticism. Good criticism, bad criticism. Criticism one way or another helps me grow. Okay. A lot more tougher skin. A lot more tougher skin than people would realize. Some people don't. Excuse me. But yeah, but thank you. And I will see you on the next episode of the Main Character Podcast, where I'm going to try to liven it up a little bit, okay?